Asibi Avoka from Zozi, a community near Boku in Ghana's Upper East region, is lively and active today at home, but that wasn't the case a couple of years ago.
So first no, na me hu me kunu no, na ye brantie, na me so me ye baaya, so do me so me do no, so me be waro no, na ye wo ba kon ntoka bi anim, e san wo bi anu ntoka bi anu. So ye wo mianu kono da bia ntoka wa ho me ka bibia na ye ntoka otimidi di matem sanga bia na obume.
Avoka's experience in the hands of her own husband was traumatizing as she contemplated killing herself on several occasions.
Obo me na ye se me ngi aware no ana me nkokumo hu so ana me nkoba bia.
A few kilometers away from Asibi is Berikisu. Just like Asibi, Berikisu is also a victim of gender-based violence. The perpetrator is her own husband.
Tiye ha meni kunu ye bon komo tiye bon komo na kakra na ntokwa siye ti toka ni siwie no na ye wo ho no me kasa no na amanfo aba ti amanfo abai mo aba paya chausa wanti ase me kunu si won jindi ti gise me kɔ me si dabi me nkɔ ye kasa wie no watam bibi wode brome ti wo brome na me si dabi e bro we de e ba be ha me nti ye sa na betimi abe ye den dakro betimi abe ye me sa na ma ye den ma wu aja me ma nti wo brome sa no na enya me de enya me fe enya sa no mo ye me yonkofo.
Gender-based violence is a major threat to women in Ghana and tops the list of women's rights issues in the country. According to UN Women, 1 in 4 women in Ghana has experienced physical or sexual abuse at the hands of a close relation. The Gender Studies and Human Rights Documentation Center in Accra is one of the foremost civil society organizations that have carried out an extensive study on this phenomenon.
There was a research that was done in 1998 and in 10 regions of Ghana to find out the prevalence and how violence against women is ongoing, because earlier on when you talk about it, people thought it was a foreign concept, but it was happening in our daily life. So there was a need for that kind of research so that when you are speaking about it, you'll be able to have facts. So the research helped, and all these components came that there was physical violence going on, there was sexual violence going on, there was economic violence going on, there was traditional violence going on, and psychological violence, which earlier on or beforehand, people were not seeing it as such, but the research brought all these out.
The Northern, Upper East, Greater Accra and Volta regions lead in areas where gender-based violence is predominant. Activists working on the ground blame the situation on the deeply entrenched socio-cultural norms that view women as being subservient to men.
So women are actually not able to participate actively in decisions that are affecting them. They are not even able to come out to be able to venture into economic empowerment or livelihood interventions that will make them economically empowered, that would make them confident to also be able to stand and speak for themselves or even fight against any rights infringements on them. So these factors go a long way to affect the development and growth of women in this part of the country.
Girls aren't spared from gender-based violence, harassments, and inequalities.
The challenges we girls are facing is harassment. The boys like harassing us, forcing girls into early marriage and teenage pregnancy. And they say girls' school are not compulsory.
Without any protection, the dreams of a better future for these girls gets shattered. In 2022, with funding from the European Union, Action Aid Ghana, together with International Federation of Women Lawyers FIDA, as partners, launched the Transformative Action for Gender Equality TAGE project. Empowering women and girls to know their rights, understand and recognize all forms of domestic violence is a major focus, helping women and girls to seek protection and defend themselves, both within their communities and through the effective implementation of relevant laws, policies and legal mechanisms were also key priorities.
The way the project is being designed was that we look at three angles. We were looking at the beneficiaries, we look at the traditional authorities, and that of the state actors. These are the three pillars that we look at. So in terms of the beneficiaries, we form women groups. We have the, depending on their age, or based on their age, we have the 13 to 19, we have 20 to 35, and we have the 36 above.
So 3 groups in each community where the awareness raising started on the issues of violence. What do you even say? When you hear the word violence, what does it mean? What are the forms of violence? Where can you report? So when these groups were formed, we had to encourage them, support them to get leaders of each of the groups so that at least whatever happens, they will be able to support them and also account for the meetings and the discussions within the groups.
The TAGE project targets 596 women leaders in 64 communities who are trained on domestic violence prevention and reporting and principles of feminist leadership. These women use their knowledge to support other women. Girls groups also benefit from similar trainings.
It is important because knowledge is very key. And sometimes when somebody is not informed of happenings within his or her environment, the person is violated or the person is taken for granted or becomes a victim of certain situations. And so we felt that for them to be able to even come out, they should be aware of the situation. They should even know that this is a violation or this is violence against me, because it takes different forms.
Several state actors helped to make these trainings of these women and girls groups a success.
TAGE, as partners to Action Aid, we have collaborated with them in terms of building the capacity of their members, women's group, combat members at the various communities, chiefs, opinion leaders, queen mothers, women's group, and other vulnerable groups that are within the communities and that are working directly with Action Aid and then the TAGE project.
FIDA has been on board right from the beginning. That is the design stage, bringing our legal expertise, the vast experience we have in promoting and protecting the rights of women, children, and persons with disability. Under the project, we trained state actors in basic sign language. It didn't end there. What happened was that out of the sign language, the state actors went back to their organizations and then they did a step-down training. This is to enable the deaf also, the deaf society also to access justice. The combat and then the paralegals also did a lot of awareness raising in the communities. And then we also use WhatsApp technology to even try to reach some survivors and to be able to assist them to access justice.
Asibi Avoka got introduced to the TAGE women's group shortly after suffering abuse from her husband. It has been a source of empowerment.
Action is ubaye no. Omo di sampa na baye. Omo ka say yen get ntoka no. Na yen ye baako. Na yen tumi fe ye fie. So ya get ntoka no action Aid baye no. Omo ka na kama maye.
Barikisu has also received support to reconcile with her husband. That gives her freedom to focus on building her fashion career devoid of abuses.
Ye ko train die o ma de o mo akirekire ye ba fie na ene mmema no ye nya botre ene mmema no na wo how kese ne dia nya wo de obetimi ayeden a fre ana obetimi abebo mo amane no mo abetina mo mienu ayeden akasa amana a ti ase se wo yire
Gender-based violence has no boundaries. The TAGE project was also designed to empower persons with disability to report abuses and seek support from agencies like the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service.
Previously, persons with disability, they sometimes think they are not supposed to even appear in public or they don't have any rights. But because of the TAGE program, they now know that even in 1992 Constitution, they have a right. They have a Person with Disability Act 506 there that support them or guide them against those kind of violence and stigma and discrimination in their communities. And also, the TAGE program has made them to know that when somebody violates against them, they have the right to take it on.
The TAGE project is also a unique solution to gender-based violence for various reasons. One of it is the initiative to get men, the main perpetrators of abuses, involved in addressing the issue. Men from various status of society have been mobilized to be a voice. Called the Male Allies under the project, they have become major players in serving as role models, mobilizing other men, educating them on rights issues, and highlighting why they need to stop abusing women and rather support and empower them.
In actual fact, the program is very impactful. Me personally, programs like this, initially I thought it was just an empowerment of women against men. So in actual fact, I didn't like this program at all. I take it as though women are being empowered to maybe misbehave towards men. But going through the program, I found out that it's a very good program, and that through education, we do educate the community on the community information center. And then women equally come to us with their challenges that they're going through. And then the men, through this education, some of the men are enlightened about their roles in the family.
Through Action 8 or TAGE project, they came and trained us on how to face certain challenges. And if you see a problem like this, how you are going to tackle it to resolve the issue. So through that, whenever you see some like some house people fighting, you go to the house and plead with them, sit with either both of them or one of them, and talk to him about the training you've received from Action 8 through TAGE project. You teach them how to behave to avoid certain violence in our homes.
Action 8 and TAGE program has educated the men to know very well that these are the rights of the ladies and also the young girls in the community. So there are a lot that Action 8 has brought into this community. It has reduced drastically because we have not been seeing fight or hearing noise from various houses as abusing someone's right or trying to molest a woman or a lady in the house. And it's as a result of the education through Action 8.
For example, we've been engaged in the training of the combats and the engagement of some men and boys under the project. We all know that most cases of gender-based violence is rooted in toxic masculinities. And so for us to address this effectively, we need to provide that space where the men and boys can also engage, understand the laws, know the consequences of these behaviors, and change. Change not just to stop gender-based violence, but to save themselves and to adopt more positive masculinities.
Media has been instrumental in getting the messages of TAGE across to Ghanaians. On radio, television, and online, the message has reached millions.
The program has actually opened a whole lot of knowledge to them. Some seems to be on the fringes as far as those things are concerned, especially when it comes to maltreatment of the women, children, abandonment of children in terms of marriages, sometimes abuse that are actually foisted on the people through cultural practices.
To ensure provision of quality and sustainable project interventions, the TAGE project manager directly engaged community and district-level beneficiaries of the TAGE project. This contributed immensely in creating a strong connection between the various women's group members, district state actors, and Action Aid Ghana. Over the past 2 years, TAGE's success story has been evident in the impact stories of the women and girls who have been beneficiaries. From escaping abuses to being empowered to now realize their full potentials in their families and communities.
The time people will be sleeping, that will be the time you hear someone screaming for help. And it all like this sex demand and those things. I've not eaten, you've come to demand for sex from me. How do I offer you that one? Then if I deny you, you tend to abuse me. So that was then. But now TAGE has come into our community. I think it has brought a lot of relief from us.
But the project has also revealed some gaps that need filling as beneficiaries desire more support to sustain the gains made so far.
Even though we have this collaboration with state actors, we must strengthen it with state institutions to enforce the law strictly, right from the community, because we realize that sometimes we strictly do not enforce these laws.
I think that one of the key lessons we have learned going forward is to see how we can get further support to get livelihood intervention skills for these women of their choice, so that when they're economically empowered, they'll be able to support in the upbringing of their homes and supporting their husbands in any other venture, and they themselves economically, they'll be okay, and that will help in the development of these women and then their communities.
There is more to be done to liberate women from the shackles of gender-based violence, abuse, and inequalities. That journey, though, requires even more advocacy and real action.
We all have to know that violence against women and children, or to anyone, even men, is not right. We have to know that it's not a foreign concept, as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution in Chapter 5 under the Human Rights. It's against the rights of someone for one to take power in their hands to abuse someone. So we have to change our mentality.
There are a lot of stakeholders that work in the space of gender-based violence and gender equality. And so we need to link them up properly with the community structures that we create, so that when they have issues, it can move faster.
And it has also been encouraging and gratifying, engaging with the district level state actors that we have worked with in the 8 districts and 64 communities across the Greater Accra, the Volta, the Upper East and Northern regions of Ghana. The state actors from Shraj, from Dovsu, from the NCC, the Legal Aid, all these agencies and the Department of Gender, they have all held our hands, joined us to reach out to community members, traditional and religious authorities, to drum home the importance of us all joining hands to protect women, girls, and PWDs from violence, so that together as a people, we all contribute to improving the status of life of women, girls, and persons with disabilities in Ghana.
Given that level of commitment across the regions, it means that this project is contributing significantly towards addressing violence against women in Ghana. To conclude, let me take this opportunity to thank the donors of this project, the European Union, for making that huge commitment to want to contribute towards addressing violence against women in Ghana, by not only providing the funding for it, but making a commitment, taking this project as a baby. It demonstrates that addressing violence against women is not only within the confines of Ghana, but even the European Union and other allies are committed to building that relationship and addressing violence against women to ensure that women have a safe place in their matrimonial homes, in their communities. And that is what Action Aid stands for. We are a women-focused development organization, and achieving the rights of women and empowering women to demand their rights is of critical importance if Ghana would develop in a more sustainable way.
For now, these girls and women have benefited from an initiative that has transformed their lives for the better thanks to the TAGE project, memories of which will last for a long time but give an appetite for even greater support in the future.